What is up, everybody? Back with another video. Today, I'm doing another NBA mock draft. It's been a little bit since I did one, so I thought I would hop on and do another one. The NFL draft just recently happened. It was definitely my favorite one so far that I've watched. I watched almost every pick that I could. It was phenomenal. I just finished up yesterday. I'm sorry about I didn't make a video after the first round like I said I would. I just didn't have time to do it. But I'm bringing you guys in our mock draft right now. And let's start off right with the first overall pick. And that's going to be for the Rockets. This is still an easy pick for me. Easy number one on everybody's big board. You'd be pretty crazy not to put him number one if you're a big, network or sports broadcasting thing. So he has to be number one for you. Cade Cunningham, 6'8" guard that can slide to power forward. Good defender. Good playmaker overall, arguably the best in the class at playmaking, just has a turnover problem that I think is going to be very fixable in the NBA. Next up for the Pistons, we are going to go with best player available, Jalen Suggs. He also definitely does fit the squad a little better, because if you look what they got right now, you got Jeremiah Grant, Mason Plumlee, you got really good big men. Killian Hayes, I think he's really solid in my opinion at that guard spot. But I think Jalen Suggs will come in and play more of a shooting guard role. Plus, his leadership is off the charts. I think he's arguably the best leader in this class coming in as a 19-year-old kid, which is nice to see. And I think he's really going to impact that team right off the bat. Next up for the Timberwolves, a team that has been on a really good run lately. They are currently 10-7 with D'Angelo Russell and Karl-Anthony Towns healthy. That's a team that I think that's going to make the playoffs next year. And if you pick Evan Mobley right here, that's going to make it even closer. He's definitely the best player available, and I think he fits best with his team. You'd probably move Karl-Anthony Towns to power forward, and I honestly think he could do it. This year he's been a much better defender for the Timberwolves, and his wing defending ability is just phenomenal for a big guy. So I would definitely take Evan Mobley there for the paint. Next up with the Magic, who will they have 2 first-round picks in this mock draft right now, because I'm doing the lottery still. Pretty soon I'll move to the full first round. But right now we're taking Jalen Green still. This is our best player available pick. I still think at this point in the draft, you're taking best player available unless there's a serious fit issue and there's somebody else that's right behind the other best player available in talent. And I think Jalen Green is pretty separated from most players at this point, talent-wise, so I would definitely take him. And then next up, to end out this top 5 for the Cleveland Cavaliers, a team that has been really seemingly tanking lately. They're on a 6-game losing streak. They just can't get wins to go. They're kind of out of that. They're almost eliminated completely for the playoffs. They could be eliminated right now. I might have to check again, but I think it's be almost impossible for them to make this play-in. But another spot where I'm taking best player available, and honestly, I'm not mad at all. If you take Scotty Barnes here, I'm going to go with Jonathan Kuminga personally right now. I think he definitely fits the timeline a little better. Timeline, in my opinion, is kind of a nice factor to look at. I think both of them actually fit the timeline really well. But Jonathan Kuminga, he's a guy that's going to take time to develop. And if you develop him properly, and especially on a Cavs team like this, if you let him play through his mistakes and break through, this is going to be phenomenal. Because look at his age right now. I think he might be the youngest, if not one of the youngest. They're actually not showing his age, but he's 18 years old, and he'll be 18 after he's drafted, potentially even 18 in his first game. I kind of doubt that, though. I think he'll be a young 19-year-old, but obviously that's not too much of a change. So we're just going to go with Jonathan Kuminga here, and also, power forward is a need for them, as I don't think Kevin Love is going to be starting for them for 2 more years. I think Jonathan Kuminga could come off the bench for most of that season, and then Kuminga could move into the starting role once he's developed. So I think that's a really good fit. Next up for the Thunder, another best player available pick. They don't have an extreme need at small forward. I'm going to go Scotty Barnes here. He fits the timeline really well in my opinion. I think Poku will be at that power forward spot, so I don't think you need the power forward extremely. I think Poku could move into that spot really well. We'll see what happens with Al Horford. I don't know how much he's going to play next year, if he does at all. We'll see if they can re-sign Shai, which I think they can with the cap space that they have remaining. But I'm definitely taking Scotty Barnes here, best player available, by a decent margin. Right now, he's arguably a top 5 prospect in my opinion. Next up for the Magic. This is another pick that they have. They traded this one. They got this pick from the Bulls in that Vucevic trade. So, hey, this trade really worked out for the Magic if you look at it right now. I mean, you're going to get another top prospect most likely with this pick. So, phenomenal trade when you look back at it right now for them. And plus, you took on some expiring deals soon with Gary Harris. So, that's going to be ending cap at some point here. But we're going to add on a guy like Davion Mitchell right now. I think point guard's a pretty big need for them. I really don't understand why TradeNBA.com has him as their 17th prospect. He's my number 7 prospect on my big board, and I think he makes a lot of sense right here for the Magic. Markelle Fultz is great, but I keep him at that shooting guard position. I don't think you have a true point guard on this team right now when you scroll through it. Like, if Michael Carter-Williams is your best true point guard, or maybe even Cole Anthony, I don't think that's going to fare too well for you. I think Davion Mitchell makes a lot more sense, and you can have Cole Anthony come off the bench for another year. But I think Davion Mitchell can start right away, and he is a little bit older, so that's going to provide a higher floor for him. Next up, for the Raptors, this is an interesting team because you don't really know what kind of position they're going to be in. This is a team where, look at the talent. This does not look like a team that should be out of a playoff or even a play-in spot. Like Siakam, Lowry, Van Vliet. This is a good lineup. Boucher, Anunoby. This is a team where you would not expect them to be where they're at in the standings at all. This is a pick where I'm going to be going Moses Moody. I think he's my number 8 prospect on my big board. So this definitely is a, let's say, talent pick. Jalen Johnson, he's not a top 10 prospect in my mind. I think he falls a little bit outside of it. That's why he's probably going to be falling a little bit in this mock draft. And I really don't think many NBA teams will look at Jalen Johnson as a top 10 prospect either. But Moses Moody, a big stud 3-and-D guard, that's really going to work out for that Raptors team. Plus, I think Lowry is going to move on. And if Davion Mitchell falls past the Magic, the Raptors make a lot of sense for Davion Mitchell also. I'll put that out there. And here we go for the Kings, a team where you also look at their starting lineup. It looks pretty decent. De'Aaron Fox is breaking out into a star right now this season. Buddy Hield, a roaming question if he will get traded this offseason. I think they're probably going to stay with him. I mean, they could have traded him last year, but they didn't. We'll see if that changes. I'm sticking with more of a sleeper pick. I don't know if I would really do this if I were them, but this is what I would think they would do. And I think they're going to take Kai Jones. He's my number 10 prospect on my big board. I don't think they're very confident Marvin Bagley right now, as he was their second overall pick in 2018. I don't really think they're going to try to send too much money at him. And Kai Jones is one of those prospects where if you give him time to break through, he could be a legit star in the future. If you look at his stats at Texas, they're not too great, and that just doesn't define who he is as a player at all. If you guys want me to put out a prospect breakdown video, I could most definitely do that of some players, and that could maybe give you a more broad view of them. But next up for the Wizards, a team where maybe if they were healthy all year, they could be a little bit higher. And I believe they're in a playoff spot right now, or not a playoff, but a play-in spot. I could check the NBA standings real quick, as they're the 10 seed, so they would be in the play-in, which should be really interesting, honestly, because Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook, they can go off any night, and they could give any 7 seed a problem. And right now that 7 seed is the Miami Heat, so that's going to be really interesting if that actually does happen. But for this pick, I'm going to go with a player that has a really high floor. You're not going to pick point guard or shooting guard right now. I mean, you could take a shooting guard and try to move them to a small forward, but I don't really know if Keon Johnson or Book Knight are really big enough, per se, to move to a small forward spot. I don't think going for a small ball lineup is the smartest thing. And I really think Corey Kispert has an extremely high floor, as he is a little bit older. He was phenomenal at Gonzaga last year. Look at these stats right now. Obviously, the stats don't show too much of how great he was, but he really led this team to a conference championship. He's really close to a top 10 prospect, in my opinion. I still haven't done too much of prospect grades outside of the top 10, but he's probably pretty close, in my opinion, to that spot. And obviously, center is a big need for them, but I'm not taking a center right here. No way. But yeah, we're going to take Corey Kispert right now. And then next up, it's going to be the Pelicans, a team where I'm really questioning how this team is not in the play-in. Like, look at the talent on this team. Obviously, I don't watch a ton of Pelicans games, but I'm a massive Zion fan. Dude's a beast. Jackson Hayes looks promising. Lonzo Ball has been great. Bledsoe has been nice. Ingram is he's typically more of an all-star player. I was kind of surprised he didn't make it this year, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But for this pick, I am going to go with Keon Johnson, the shooting guard out of Tennessee. This is more of a talent pick right now. It's not of the biggest need, because if you wanted to go need, you're probably going to go for that center position, even though Steven Adams is a pretty good center in my opinion. Or you go point guard for Lonzo Ball, but maybe Keon Johnson could move into more of a point guard role. He's just got to develop more of the passing side of his game. But this dude's an athletic freak, and that's going to sell some more tickets right next to Zion Williamson. Like, it's going to be a big show. And then next up for the Pacers, I'm not the biggest fan of this pick. I guess Jalen Johnson could be valued more around here. He's not the prettiest pick up here in my opinion. I don't really like what he did at Duke. The team was literally playing better without him, it seemed like. So I mean, he's just not. I'm not too high on him, even though I like Duke a lot. They're my second favorite college basketball team. I haven't watched them for a while. Massive fan of that Zion Williamson squad, but I'm taking Jalen Johnson here. He's definitely still extremely talented, but he's not an extremely. He'd probably be a top 15 prospect still for me, but I think he'd be kind of close to falling out of that. Next up for the Spurs, this team has got a lot of mistakes. Your best player, DeMar DeRozan, could be leaving. I mean, DeJounte Murray's been breaking out this year. He's been phenomenal. Patty Mills, his contract's going to be up. Vassell, hopefully you can get him to break through more. I mean, you got a lot of young guys with a lot of potential, in my opinion. It's just about giving them time, I guess. But for this pick specifically, I am going to go with James Bouknight. This is not really a fit pick. If I was going fit, I would go Sharif Cooper, but I like the talent of James Bouknight a lot more than the fit of Sharif Cooper. And I think the Spurs are a team that's going to look for talent, even though generally I feel like they're a team that kind of looks for fit more. So, I mean, there's definitely an argument for Sharif Cooper over him, and Sharif Cooper is extremely talented also. But I'm going with Bouknight right there. Next up for the Warriors, I'm going to go with the really tall guard, Zahari Williams. This team just doesn't have a massive need, in my opinion. Like, for some reason, they're putting centers in massive need right here. I really don't agree with that. I don't think James Wiseman is a liability yet. I mean, he's been showing potential. I think he's been disappointing for sure for the Warriors, but it's not bad enough to the point where center should be looked at as a severe need, like maybe a mild lead or a low need, but I don't know. Klay Thompson is coming back. Hopefully he's healthy. He's got a lot of time left on his deal. Wiggins and Green are going to be there for a long time also. So we're just going to go with Zahari Williams. Hopefully he can break through, maybe take over Wiggins' role, because he just hasn't impressed me at all. And that's it for the mock draft. Hopefully you guys like this one. I personally like this mock a lot more than my last one. The picks are changing up a lot, so if I did another mock draft on here in a week from now, the picks will look a lot different. And after that, the picks won't really change for a bit. So we'll see what happens there. And then after the lottery, I'm going to be doing a lot of mock drafts. I really hope there's some trades that happen in the off season for picks, because I kind of want these things to change a little bit. Because when I come down to the wire with these mocks, I think they'll change a little bit though once I get the full first rounds going. Once I get the full first round mocks going, then things will be changing up a lot, and I'll change some things up. But if I'm doing Lotto picks only, not too much is going to change if the pick, the teams stay in the same spots. But that's besides the point. That this is a pretty good mock in my opinion. That's for the video. Please comment anything you disagree with or really like. I'm sure there's some that people disagree with on here, and I'm sure there's some picks that people really like on this list. But thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in the next one. Peace.